What's up, guys? Thanks so much for tuning in to Red Pill Philosophy. Today, I am joined by a guy you've probably seen on my podcast before. His name is Maximilian, and his friend David. But things are specifically interesting because Maximilian, I don't know if he took my advice only or if he listened to other experts or people who've talked about dropping out of college, but he recently dropped out of college. And I know I always talk about the evils of school and how the school system is so much of a scam. Well, now we're talking to somebody who is literal system to drop out of college, to go pursue what he really wants to. It'd be interesting to get his insight. You know, maybe the leap of faith he's took. It's not really a leap of faith. There's plenty of rationality for why it's a good choice. But maybe we can kind of get some insights from his choices, the balls it probably took to make that choice, and how he's going to navigate forward from here. So, Max, I can call you Max, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. And by the way, audio good? Audio's good?
Yeah, the audio's good.
Okay, cool. So, what happened, bro? You just dropped out of college?
Yeah, I just came back to, this is my house in New York City. I came back yesterday, and my dropout was pretty much always, like, the seed of dropping out was in my mind the whole time. That I was in college, but since everyone was telling me go to college, I gave it a chance, and I was there for a year, dorming upstate, and I hated it so much. I mean, like the first week I was like, ooh, the teachers are less annoying than in high school, but quickly I got freaking bored, I got annoyed, and I just started hating the system and how it worked. And I started hating, like, because I saw a lot of people that didn't want to be in college there. Like, most of the people really didn't want to go, but they went because, you know, everyone else told them, and they thought that that's what you need to do. And so, you know, I would go there, I would just go to class, I would try to do good the first semester. I ended up having a GPA like 1.3 because I really gave a shit, honestly. And all I would do in class is like sit on my Kindle and like read books about like cool like philosophy shit, you know. And then the next semester, that's when the beginning of the next semester is when I was like, I can't fucking do this for 4 years. This is crazy, and I don't want to be in debt. And so I started thinking, all right, how am I going to do this? How am I going to drop out? What's my plan? What I really needed to work on at that time, I mean, I was really focusing on at that time was coming up with good reasons of dropping out, and who I'm gonna have to tell to make that decision. So my parents and everything, and that's when I asked you what you would do, and you made the video. I think it's called The First Step, Destiny or something like that, which I watched like 10 times.
Your destiny starts today.
Exactly, which was a great video, and I was pretty blazed when I first saw it, and I was like, holy shit, this is awesome, you know. I was really happy you made that. Thanks again. And
yeah, by the way, you guys can click right here. If you guys want, you can click right here, and it'll take you to that video, so you guys can check it out for yourself. Sorry, go ahead.
No problem. So anyway, so it was that, and then, you know, Elliot like do something dangerous now video and all that cool shit, and you also mentioned it in that video. And all this like stuff was just building up in momentum, and I really started getting hype about my goals, which I want to become a dating coach. Like I'm looking into stand-up comedy now. I'm looking at making videos on YouTube now. I actually, can I do a quick plug on a side note real quick?
Go for it.
All right, cool. So I have a channel called Maximilian Passat, so Passot, where I have videos on like, you know, self-development and, you know, just concepts similar to Chris here. And I also have stuff about like dating advice and all that kind of stuff. And I'm starting to really fill up the shelves in data, if that makes sense. And anyway, back to the thing. So the last couple months of college, I was like, okay, this is crazy. Like, I'm dropping out soon. I already made the decision, because, you know, I'm trying to really stick to my decisions instead of just thinking. Because most people, like Elliot Ho said once again, he's like, most people just think about making decisions, and they think the thinking is the decision making. Decisions need to be decisions. Like they need to be once a decision is done, the thinking's over. So I was like, okay, I got that down. And I was like, all right, what the fuck am I even doing this? Like I had a class, gen ed it's called, where it was about learning about Antarctica. I was like, what the fuck do I need this for? Like I don't give a shit about this now. So and I was like, all right, you know what? Fuck this. I'm not gonna read their goddamn pages. They're making me read like 60 pages a day about Eskimos. I'm like, fuck that. And I just literally didn't class for the last 2 months. I was just like, fuck it. And everybody else was like, dude, but didn't your mom pay and all that? And I was like, yeah, but you know what? It's obviously a waste anyway. So I took all that time and really put it in towards developing myself, meditating, going to the gym, and just doing soul searching, you know? And reading a lot and stuff. And I just fucking left that shit. And I'm starting up a new business soon with the Freedom Business like program with one of the RSD founders. And so I just came back from college yesterday. I'm in the zone. I'm on purpose now. My mission is concise. It just really feels good to know that now I'm really doing what I want to do. And I'm determined, you know, because I think it's important to just have plan A and no plan B's or C's. Once you have that one clear mission, it's like that movie Curtis Jackson, you know, Get Rich or Die Trying with 50 Cent. It's like if that's the only plan you have, you're just gonna put everything you got in it, all your energy into that one goal. Yeah. It's gonna have to happen, or else, you know.
Yeah. You know, I think that, you know, there's so many self-help concepts out there. There's so much, like you can get encyclopedias worth of this self-help concept and that little idea and this for that. And I think at the end of the day, the true determining factor of whether or not you accomplish something in life is the degree to which you truly, seriously want it. Because, you know, most people in any endeavor that's challenging, you're going to confront certain hurdles. And the people who kind of sort of want it are going to let those hurdles, you know, cause them to put their tail between the legs and go back home and quit. So I think that's the most important thing. So whenever I see somebody like you, or there's been other people I've talked to in the past who they exhibit like a very deep, like, I'm going to fucking do it, that to me is usually the best indicator that you're actually going to accomplish it. Because it's not about whether or not you have like a special ingredient or genetic, you know, requirements, or, you know, that we have this idea that genius is something that's we're born with. And there may be some truth to that, but a lot of times genius or coming up with great things or becoming an expert in a craft is really lots of hours of hard work. And what you really need to accomplish those hours of hard work really is just a determination, a legitimate, deep desire to accomplish it. So I think that's an important thing for my audience and yourself to be aware of.
Definitely. I think, you know, buy-in, like it's when you're bought into something. It's when all your energy, your emotional, your thoughts, your action, your physiology, your spirit, everything bought in towards that one goal. And if you can really get holistically kind of working together towards that goal, I mean, you're bound to succeed, because what else is there for you to do? Like, our subconscious mind processes like 10 billion things a second. So once you have all that fucking energy working towards that one goal, you know, there's bound to be some, it's like a gravitational pull. And a lot of people fail to realize. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. It's, you know, if we talk about like the school system, for example, it's amazing how much energy people put into the school system their whole lives. We're talking about grade school here. But if there's one thing the school system doesn't give us, I mean, if there's one thing it does give us, is that it kind of trains us to fear failure. Because there's so much in the outcome, there's so much outcome dependency, I guess you could use that term, in school. You got to get the good grade. Your parents are counting on you. Your parents ain't going to buy the Christmas gift they promised they'd get you if you get an A in all your classes. The teacher is going to look down upon you. Your friends are going to point and laugh at you because you're a bad student. All of these things, all these pressures that make us walk around through life tense, constantly feeling like instead of being at ease, free, and at peace, just like, okay, I'm living my life right now, and I have all the time in the world to figure out what I want to do, how I want to do it, and my role in this world. We don't have that for the most part. We are forced into this school system, educational rat race from age 4 or 5, and from that moment on, it's this giant, insane, quick cycle where everyone's just hauling ass, trying to get the fucking A, trying to get the good test scores. People don't even have time to breathe, relax, reconnect with their bodies, and like Elliot Holst is fucking known for preaching, and to regain that intuitive sense of what your point and purpose in this world is. Instead, we sacrifice our own individual point and purpose for the corporate and governmental point and purpose of pledge allegiance to the flag every morning, worship your government, be a good citizen, get your little college degree so you can go work for a corporation doing a repetitive, mind-numbing job for green pieces of paper that don't fulfill you. You've heard me say all this crap a bunch of times. You know what I'm talking about. And so it's crazy because even though we are busy, even work hard in the school system, it's strangely enough, it's like in the confines of this bubble where we're not given the freedom to fail. We are conditioned to fear failure to the point where if somebody is like in college and they're like, hey man, this class is fucking pointless, I have these entrepreneurial aspirings, instead of going for them, we're so trained to fear trial and failure that no one just goes out there and tries something. No one says, hey, why don't I take before I go into college for 4 fucking years, right? And go into fucking debt, which all of these things are risky. Going into college for 4 years, how do you know the thing you studied out of a textbook for 4 years is going to be relevant 4 years down the road in an economy that's changing at lightning fucking speed? That's a fucking risk. If you want, they say dropping out of college is risky. You want to know what's risky? Studying for 4 fucking years for a career that might not be relevant in 4 years. Going into debt under the assumption you might get a job that's going to pay off the debt, but you may not have that job and it's unstable. So that's fucking risky to me. So the idea, I always tell people, if you're going to go into college for 4 years, possibly get into debt, and all these risks, all this time and effort and money you're going to put there, why not take 1 semester off from school, from college, and try doing that one little thing you've always thought you'd like to do, but your parents said don't do it because it's not going to make any money. If you're already going into giant risk by going to college, why not take 1 semester off? I mean, kind of like what you're doing right now, at least take a semester off. Even if you're not going to fully get out of college, at least take 1 semester off and try the things you wanted to try. Try to make a product. Try to provide a service. Try to make money in your own means. We're totally cut off from that in the system. And, some people have argued. I was listening to a seminar by that Rich Dad, Poor Dad author. You've heard of that book?
Oh, Robert Kiyosaki?
Yeah, that guy. And he was talking about how he's baffled why the school system doesn't teach people simple business principles, simple principles about financing. Why don't they teach? Well, the fucking historical fact is that the school system is not there to empower you. It's to keep you at a certain level so you're not a threat to those with the most power and finances currently in power. So there's my rant.
You see, like, the thing about the whole taking a while off to learn and pursue other things is pretty popular in Europe, right? And I have a lot of family there, and I live here in New York City. So when I told my parents that, my dad, who lives in Europe most of the time, says, that could be a good idea. But my mom, who's been living in this culture for such a long time, was like horrified by the notion of that, because she's like, high school, right after that you got to go to college, and it's kind of like this paranoid mindset. And the only reason they said I couldn't do that was because they're saying that college prices get higher every year, and that I can't do that now because then when I'm done doing that, the college prices are going to be higher. So I have to go to college now and get into crazy debt. Like, I'm in debt right now and I didn't learn shit. Like for the year I was there, that's like 20,000 almost. I mean, I got some financial aid or whatever, but like I didn't learn shit. Imagine I put that 20,000 towards, towards a business or or getting or a mentor like Anthony Robbins, who probably costs like $1,000 an hour to be with him. But I'm pretty sure 20 damn hours with Anthony Robbins would have topped off so much goddamn school education that it's crazy.
And bro, you could have learned all that shit on Google for free anyway.
Exactly, the
it's
goddamn
like Gary Vaynerchuk. Yeah, fuck the Eskimos, man. It's like Gary Vaynerchuk the other day. I shared a meme because Gary Vaynerchuk, the guy's fucking genius, and he's, his quote more or less was that it's insane what we're making kids do in school today. We're making them memorize facts that are at their fingertips, and of course he's referring to Google, computers, all the shit they're forcing kids to memorize. They can Google it in half the time it takes to ask the fucking teacher or look through a textbook. So it's totally insane. We have this outdated industry, this outdated school system that's still there because there's teachers whose salary depends on it. There's principals and administrators. All these people, they are financially dependent on the school system, so no one's going to give that shit up. And, as long as they need money to survive, as long as there's a government that's interested in using schools to brainwash kids to be good, the Pledge of Allegiance, it's going to be very hard to convince people to get out of that system. So, yeah, it's...
Yeah. You have anything to say about this? This is David, by the way. He's, for the listeners, he's a good childhood friend that I grew up with and who's also very, involved in these kinds of ideas and spreading information. And so you have anything to say about that, man?
I don't know. I mean, there are a lot of valid points being tossed around here. Always a risk when going into anything and investing your time into something, but I can say for sure that the college education, a school, or an academic education isn't required. You can find any type of wealth or success, financial success, in any aspect of life. It depends on how you do it and how you execute it. It is recommended. It gives you a better percentage over everybody else that doesn't have that piece of paper that says you were wasting your time in college.
You're worthy of thinking.
Yeah, I mean, 4 years is a big time. And the money that you invest into it, it could be put towards a business. But I mean, Max and I even had this conversation just recently, where if you get fired from your mind-numbing 9-to-5 job, you always have a degree to fall back on, and it's going to take time for you to establish yourself. If your business goes under, then you basically almost have nothing.
No, because you have credibility for the business too, though.
But you never know, because like you said, it's always a changing world, and the information that you learn today could be different tomorrow. And what if they pass a new law and make it legal?
Here's a counter that. That's definitely a legitimate concern and definitely a legitimate risk. I think that as a counterpart to being a business owner, in reality, it kind of reflects something internal about yourself. If you are a business owner, not anyone can be a business owner. You have to have certain internal qualities first. Adaptability, commitment, leadership, connections. These fundamental qualities are principles that that allow you to navigate through almost any situation in life, as compared to being like a disempowered, low-level employee who's just kind of mindlessly going through life for a paycheck. If he loses his job, he's so detached from his own empowerment. He doesn't have the inner resourcefulness to connect with people locally, to make a new market, to find a new way to make some money. He lacks so much internally that a business owner, on average, they tend to have more. So even if your business does go up, and that is a definitely legitimate risk, think about it though. I think you're much better. You have a much higher likelihood of getting employment somewhere else if you're a business owner, because of the fact that you have so much more experience than you may not be able to be a business owner anymore if your business goes out, but you have so much more experience, so many more connections, so more internal qualities that allow you to navigate the world effectively, that after your business goes out of business, you may not be able to start your own business immediately. You're going to be a much more viable candidate to be hired by another company because you have that much more experience. So it's like this idea that being disempowered is just never a good fucking choice. And the solution to being disempowered is not to say, well, if I do empower myself and start my own business, I don't need anyone to fall back on. Well, you still have internal qualities of empowerment that are going to help you navigate the world much better than the who has a job that they're not really interested in, kind of got it to make it. They're not really passionate about the business itself. They're just there for the paycheck. 2008 financial crisis comes along. A bunch of people lose their jobs, and these people are totally just handicapped. So although there is definitely risk in starting your own business, because you kind of it's more responsible for you, at the same time it's just a more important place to be like that. And that's something I reiterate so much. Like, when you get these inner qualities developed that are required to have a business in the first place: resourcefulness, leadership, a confidence, connections, localized networks. These things do make you like a god navigating the world. And that kind of goes into some of like the pickup principles and dating advice principles, man. As I told you in our last conference, I had my period where I went out just approaching random girls, and the inner that does to you internally. I don't know how much experience I have. I'm not even sure if David's into any of that stuff. Are you into like the whole like
LSD field? Yeah, he got me into it.
That's just like okay, cool. Well, yeah, I mean, and I don't know how much experience you've gotten, but in my experience, man, approaching women you've never met and talking to girls that you find attractive and really pushing the comfort zone that you have, changed me so radically internally that everywhere I go now in life, I feel like I'm just in control of things.
Exactly. You get the sense of confidence. Sorry for cutting you off, my bad. You get the sense of confidence.
No, go ahead.
You get the sense of confidence of just doing one, which is should be natural to any male species on this fucking planet. Like, you're going up to a female counterpart, someone who, without them, you would have never existed. Without your mom, you would have never existed. And it's exhilarating. It is, and it's the weirdest thing. It's kind of like you're looking at them like they're creatures from the deep. It's horrible and it's horrid, and I get those feelings too. Sometimes you get stuck and you feel this closed off feeling. But why do you get that feeling? Why do you get that feeling from doing something that you're supposed to be doing? That's supposed to be very natural. In the after effects, when you go in there with no intent, most of the times, no regrets, and you just let it happen, you're surprised. Women can pick up on this. They're very sensitive, intuitive to that type of energy, and they can feel it. And they can feel that if you're being genuine, you can be genuine. And then, listen, if you get rejected, you get rejected. Who cares? Max always used to tell me, he's like, rejection is better than regret. Because if you don't go up to that girl right fucking now, then you're going to be thinking for the next 30 minutes, can I go up to that girl? But if you do go up to that girl, and she says no, fuck it, next girl. She says yes, good. You get a number, and you bang her, and then that's it, dude. Shit, life goes on, motherfucker, life goes on. And it's sickening that these people, they get like, no, but she's different, and she takes care of herself. Yeah. Dude, just fuck it. Just do it.
Yeah, it's such a resourceful kind of thing, because when you do like pick up and all this kind of stuff, it opens you up to a higher level of social intelligence, which keeps on developing over time. Those that do pick up for years, they're extremely socially intelligent, and with social intelligence comes an ability to clearly communicate, to be great at setting boundaries and asserting yourself, which are extremely useful tools in being an entrepreneur.
Yeah, the benefits are astounding.
So there's once you start developing that muscle of going out there and facing scary shit because you want it, because you want a woman, that builds the muscle of boldness and of being fearless, going for what you want. There's another muscle that is extremely useful in the business world. And once you learn how to communicate, be socially intelligent, be sensitive to your environment, and go for what you want, that creates a fucking amazing toolbox of inner resources, which overall so much fucking useless data regurgitation processes that we think we need to be successful. So that's a little there of Yeah.
It brings you into a state of wanting to better yourself. Because if you do it and you write it down on a piece of paper, the pros outweigh the cons by 1,000-fold. and it's so good because it overlaps and leaks into other aspects of life, like business as well, and it teaches you how to grow personally. And of course, if you're doing this and it feels exhilarating, naturally you're going to want to progress and learn more and do more. Because when you have that adrenaline rush and you feel the momentum of wanting to learn more, of wanting to better yourself,
Exactly.
then you do it. Then you want to learn more and you want to better yourself rather than sitting in a seat for 4 to 6 hours a day and being force-fed this knowledge that you just don't want to, and it's so boring. Even the most interesting of knowledge, someone can tell you the secret of life in school, and you'll just be like, yeah, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
You don't care because in school, you don't. Most of what you learn in school, you learn it for the sake of learning it. You learn it for the sake of a grade. You don't do things because you enjoy the process. You enjoy the outcome. And does that have tie-ins to pick up and all this? This idea of doing things for the process. Be in the moment. Do it for the. Don't be too attached to the outcome, the this, the that. Do it simply for the process of yourself. And strangely enough, that's where a lot of success sprout forward from. I tweeted this out like a few months ago. It's like the idea that no such thing as a past, there's no such thing as a future. The past and future are just ideas. There is the present moment. Well, I think because of that, and because the present moment is really actually all fucking is that if you're present, appreciating the process and not worrying perceived outcome, if you're present and you're grounded in the real reality there is, which is the present fucking moment, from there, that's where only creation can ever possibly happen. The only fruits of effort and work and your goal, these things, they can only happen in the present moment. So why like outsource your to some conceptualized future?
Exactly.
Here all fucking happen, and that's huge. That's kind of what I was saying with school. It's like
Your audio is getting choppy.
A little choppy, and
it's getting a little like repetitive or something. Yeah.
Chop.
Is it still doing? Still doing.
Yeah, it's still doing it.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I do agree with you. I do agree with you though. College, unlike high school, does give you more flexibility with the classes that you want to take and what you really want to learn. But even college, they have requirements that you must take in order to graduate. They're college requirements, and you just to ask yourself, wait, what? Why do I have to take these? It's just to make you spend more money because you need an overall amount of credits to pass college. You need an amount of hours. So even if you take the classes that you enjoy, you still have to take the other very conventional and traditional classes.
College and school in general is a fundamentally disempowering institution. Basically what it says is you are a piece of shit until you memorize a bunch of crap you'll never use, and then we give you a piece of paper, and then you can finally feel confident enough about yourself, about life, get a job. So what an evil, fucked up system to, I don't know, maybe the teachings of RSD or the teachings of Elliot Hulse or the things that I talk about, which says you are from the get-go, you are awesome. And really, if you want to be awesome, you just have to reconnect with that fact that was brainwashed out of you from an early age. I was going to say something else, but it totally fucking left me. So do you guys have any answers there?
Yeah.
I mean,
go ahead.
The way I look at it, and the way my mother puts it, she says, look around you. Are these the living conditions that you find ideal? If so, then follow in my footsteps and see what happens. If not, then you have to put your mind to it and you have to do what you think is right. We'll support you, but understand that things go to shit. There's going to be some changes around here. You're going to be helping out. You're going to get some grunt work, going to get a job. But there's also the fact that you have to be real with yourself. If your parents are putting the idea in your head that you have to be a lawyer or a doctor, then is that really your passion or is that their passion? If you tell yourself, I'm not cut out for the fundamentals of academic education and I just want to be a construction worker, you feel like you're will be your path and that will be your mastery. If you want to be a carpenter, if you want to be a fucking janitor, if you feel like you can wash the shit out of every floor that you see, then you have to be real with yourself. Don't deny yourself that. Who knows? In 5 years, janitors will be making NFL money. Never know. Be washing gold.
But again, it goes back to the idea that do the green pieces of paper really make a person happy? You know, we're kind of sold in that core idea that government, because really, corporations and government both have interests in all of us humans jumping into the economic system for green pieces of paper. It keeps the giant economic system going. That's how government funding by taxing us. The Federal Reserve System controls the money supply. That's how they get to print money out of thin air to fund war, to fund the war on drugs, all these psychotic government programs that if they couldn't print money out of thin air, they would away with it. So it's interesting, you know, like, is the janitor a happier person than the millionaire? And a lot of times that's absolutely fucking true. And it's hard to break the money matrix that confuses us to think that without like green pieces of paper we're not going to be happy. But in reality, man, I'm telling you, you can go interview a millionaire, and there are plenty of millionaires who are miserable fucking people, and you go interview the fucking janitor at the local grocery store, that guy's happy as fuck. So, you know, we need to snap out of the money matrix, and, you know, this idea, you know, our parents wanting us to be the lawyer or the doctor. I mean, why parents really give a fuck what profession you pursue in the first place is beyond me. I think their priority should be do what makes you happy, because I mean, it seems like we all want to be happy. That seems to be the one thing we all have in common. We want to reach a state of contentment where we feel like, you know, happy. It's real fucking simple. So, you know, it's just this whole thing with money is such a permeating, you know, element. It really ensnares people, and it's like, and it's kind of a paradox. I've said this before. You know, it seems like so many people want money. So many people pursue it their whole lives, and I think one of the primary reasons that so many people think money will make them happy is because most people don't really have that much money. They never get the opportunity to have enough money to realize that once they have it, they're still going to be fucking miserable. So it's like this never-ending paradox where you're chasing money, but you never get enough of it. So you always think it's going to make you happy, like the celebrities on the red carpet with their millions of dollars and their fame and their Twitter followers and all this. And you think that the effects of their lives is what brings happiness. We think the money brings happiness. We think the fame and the photographers taking pictures in the red carpet, we think that's happiness. But in so many cases, people who go out there and live lives that are fulfilling, the fame, the success they get, is actually a byproduct of the fact that they honored themselves, that they were content with who they are before they ever got the fame and success. And from that kind of basking in what you are right now and not what you want to be, successful or this or that, when you bask in who you really are, that's, again, it's like the present moment thing I was saying earlier. It's from basking in who you are now, in this present moment, from which creation happens, from which the fruits of creativity and success can sprout forward. And again, the school system doesn't really teach you that. It teaches you to scramble away from who you are. You're not sufficient as you are right now. Get your grades, then you'll be worthy.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, with your trying to be happy principle, Max told me earlier that being happy really isn't the goal in life. Being happy is just the byproduct of being on the right path, heading towards your goal. Explain
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
You know better than me.
Yeah, like I actually talked about this in the first podcast with you,
Very
and yeah, it's I think it's true. You know, it's like a cliche kind of thing. Like happiness is not a goal; it's a way. And as much of a cliche as that is, it's true because I've experienced it in my own life a lot. And, you know, I used to think happiness like a state that you could just snap into whenever you want, like meditation, for instance. But it's not, you know, you can live the most miserable life and still be blissful in your meditation, right? But I think happiness really comes from actions, you know. And I think even the Dalai Lama said it, like the 14th Dalai Lama, he's like, happiness comes from your actions. And right now I can say I'm happy because I dropped out of college and now I'm really doing what I want. You know, I'm really pursuing my path, and now I feel happy. You know, when I walk around, like this new feeling I have, and before, it's actually a very new feeling to me. Because my whole life I've been living, trying to like fulfill the stories of what people had for me. And even though ever since a little kid, and David here as well, we were always kind of rebellious, never really conforming, and kind of doing like the little badass shit that kids do.
That's natural. Kids always want to rebel naturally against their parents or any type of authority figure. We would do the craziest things. I don't even think we should talk about it.
Yeah, like we did a lot of crazy shit, and I kept inside of me. Yet I still tried to do what I was told me to do. And, most of my life, I was kind of miserable because, like, for some reason, I never knew. I thought money was missing.
It's a weird system.
Material, but what I realize now is that since I've been on this path, it happened about 2 weeks ago. All the personal development stuff, all the philosophy stuff, all the questions I've been asking myself, all the meditation kind of like crystallized in my own mind, and I feel like this new sense of power and purpose, kind of like the up version of what Elliot Hull says, becoming the strongest version of yourself. I feel like I just hit a new level of it, and it's an amazing feeling. Once you know you're on your path, once you know you're on your purpose, it's like this feeling of power it's like overwhelming, sort of. It's like this light within you that shines so bright that like, and I'm tired of using like all these cliche terms like light shines so bright and all this shit.
Enlightenment.
But it's like it's just this personal sense of like real power and purpose, and it's a feeling that I feel like I don't think any, like, I think that 9% of people just don't have that feeling.
Think about it. You have shitty people raising shittier kids that grow up to be shitty people who raise shitty kids themselves. It's a weird system we have where, I was listening to Alan Watts' lectures, and segment where Alan Watts was talking about how parents are parents have a weird way of raising children. They make you feel as if, always make you feel guilty. They try to instill as much guilt into you as possible, as if you're not feeling guilty, then you're doing something wrong. That's how existentialists say it. That's how the society wants you to. If you're not hunched over and tense because you're not doing something that someone who is raising you is telling you, then you're doing it wrong.
You're not following some authority figure.
Parents tell you, we've been through a great deal trying to, raise you. We've sweated blood into you to bring you into this world, and you better make us proud. But that, I don't know, I feel like that's not the case. I feel like your parents are there and they should be your guides. But at a certain point, you shouldn't burden your children with that type of thing. You shouldn't raise them and think for them, and then at a certain point when they turn 18, snap your fingers and say, okay, now it's your turn to do the thinking, but you still have to listen to us while you're thinking. How oxymoronic is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But back to this feeling of just personal power, like, all this, basically, you do a good job of underlining this all the time. It's that, all these institutions, whether that's college, government, religion, all these kinds of things, which have both their pros and cons, most of the time they serve to take the power out of you. And once you realize your own power and you really start drawing it back in and realizing that you are responsible for your life and its circumstances, and you are responsible for your lifestyle, and you are responsible for your responsible for your sex life, and you are responsible for your relationships, and you are responsible for your body, start gaining that power back. It's like all that power that the government had, all that power that religions had, all that power that everyone had over you, it just comes back to its source, and that source blossoms within you. And it's just this amazing feeling of mission and purpose, and like a new sense of confidence and a new sense of just oneness with the universe, And, another thing that I don't know if we should save this for another video or not, but the difference between personal development and enlightenment, because topic, but really it's just I'm just talking about this feeling, and I feel like everyone has it within them, and what we're doing right now is we're just reminding everyone that they have that blossom of like power within them.
That blossom.
They have source within them.
That wisdom boner.
Yeah.
They do, man. It's you were really making me think there, and it's like that video I did a while ago called "Genius Can't Be Taught in a Classroom."
Hmm.
What if greatness? We have this idea that, especially when it comes to intellectual greatness, like we think Einstein was like a product of like the school system. We think that genius happens in the school system. But I really think that's like a hijacking of what it means to be smart. Because when you look at Einstein, you look at almost all the fucking geniuses, they were rebels. They weren't, goody two-shoes along with educational intellectual geniuses before them came up with. What made them geniuses, it's almost like where all greatness comes from, even intellectual geniuses, but entrepreneurs, anybody who's living a life that truly reflects happiness and empowerment, it comes from a returning to themselves internally and honoring these fundamental principles of I am worthy, I am empowered, these ideas of just internal fundamental principles of empowerment. And from that premise stems even Einstein's genius, which we would think only comes out of the school system, only comes out of regurgitating shit out of textbooks. You look at him, this guy, he was a poor student, he worked like at a postal office, he didn't really like his job there, but while he was there, he would think about things mathematically, and from the most random, spontaneous places, insights happen. And I think probably most, if not all, human greatness stems from that return to the internal source, not scrambling to meet an external source like grades or status or fame or all these effects, these outcomes, as opposed to the means, the process, the present moment, the here and the now.
Yeah. And also, the geniuses that we are always learning about and being reminded, they were in some aspect educated by the traditional schools, but they never really followed it afterwards when they came out. Push boundaries, question the knowledge of that time, and they just took a leap of faith. I mean, think about it. Einstein, he didn't like the way everyone else was looking at the universe, so he's like, you know what, screw you guys, I have my own way of looking at it. And he pushed boundaries, he tested limits, and also he fell in love with his cousin. He just wanted to let that in.
Sure. Okay, sure.
He almost married his cousin. He was sick in the head, man, but he's the smartest motherfucker we knew at the time.
There you go. I was going to say something, but then your incest comment totally threw me off. So
Yeah, it'll come back to you.
Yeah, it will come back to me. Let me not think about it too much. So I'm waiting for you guys to say something. Cause
I got something.
Right
speaking of the incest comment, I think that a lot of times you get a guy, like Elliot Hulse, or you get any cool guy just spreading, wisdom, or that had valuable insights, whether that's Albert Einstein, whether that's Newton, or whether that's Elliot Hulse, whether that's Gandhi, whether that's Socrates. And a lot of guys, what they do, and this is especially relevant for, all right, well, I'll get into this. Look, so you get all these guys, and say, for instance, a kid goes up to his parents and says, hey, check out this guy. Like, look at all the ideas he's saying. And if the parents don't agree with it, or the school or whatever doesn't agree with it, or it doesn't help further their power hold on everyone, what they do is they do a thing called character assassination, where they take somebody like Elliot Hulse, and even though he helped millions of people or hundreds of thousands of people get back into their bodies and realize their potential, they'll say something like, oh yeah, but do you know that Elliot Hulse jerked off in front of a duck one time at a pond, and somebody saw him? Like, they'll give you the randomest facts.
They will nitpick a person because they don't believe, or they take what they're saying in a different aspect. Instead of being open-minded and saying, wait, okay, let's take a step back and ask ourselves, does this make sense?
Because no one's freaking perfect. Like, everyone had their times. Shit,
behind closed doors, you never know. But you always have to take a step back and ask yourself, okay, I see his point, and I have my point. Maybe you agree, maybe you don't disagree, but talk it out. Why was language invented if you were just going to shut everything off and just completely ignore everything? Mm-hmm. There's so much resistance.
A lot of people who A lot of people just don't like other people for silly, personal, egoic reasons, and then they just use whatever rational reason they're using to toss at them as an excuse to vent hatred. They don't really disagree with him on this or that per se. They just have to come up with a rational explanation for their irrational, purely emotion-based dislike for a person on a personal level. Those people aren't interested in a negotiation. They're not interested in talking things through. They just want to, project their internal hatred for themselves and their own envy and internal shortcomings. They want to spew that onto other people, which I guess you can say they're all victims. Maybe they're just victims of a fucking this shitty system we're all in. So it's hard to pass judgment.
Yeah, and also like certain circumstances that were out of their control. It's called the broadcast effect. It's where they take one little segment from one point of view and just explode it and emphasize it to the point where it just becomes something completely from what it originally began to be. Politicians use this all the time. Lawyers use it all the time. It's a type of looking for that little imperfection and making it seem like a disease. Like a good example in the news, breaking news: frog humps leg. What? And then you come back. Oh, this person drew a picture of a frog humping a leg. Okay, in other news, people died in here and there, drone attacks here and there, but there's never really you can't list all of the information, all of the sides, and investigate correctly. Oh shit! Look at that pussy.
I totally.
Keep going.
You can't condense all of that information in 3 minutes.
MSNBC was doing a story about like NSA spying, and then halfway through the fucking story, they're like, okay, wait, we have to put you on hold because we got breaking news out of Miami. Justin Bieber was just arrested for driving drunk. It's like, what the fuck? And you people are you're supposed to be the watchdog.
Oh, man.
That right there is proof of what their priorities are. That right there is clear, simple, profound proof of what their true priorities are. And it's not to keep us informed to care about us. It's about the sensationalized bullshit to make some money.
Sure. It's just so it makes it's.
Yeah, and Russell Brand.
Russell Brand.
Yeah, like he was.
Yeah, he was on MSNBC.
Yeah, I don't know if it was on that one, but he was on his news thing. I think it was either the British one, the BBC one, but he was kind of Russell Brand. He dresses in the craziest. He did an interview there, and was making such solid points and asking questions. All the newscast could do joke around about fucking wardrobe. Yeah. And the whole time he was saying, listen, like it doesn't matter what I'm wearing right now. Listen to what he's saying, and it's shit like that, and this is where the character assassination has to become. Be aware of that, because I used to fall into those kind of like loopholes too. Like people could easily school you. You see how school you is like a negative term, and it's like if I was closed-minded back like 2 years ago, for instance, I was kind of open-minded, but I was still sort of we're all every year it's like a new level.
Every different person.
Exactly. So if like you, for instance, has such valid points, and I just heard about you, I might be you a little bit like, oh yeah, making some valid points, but I'm not fully aware of the spectrum of where these points even go. Somebody could easily character assassinate you to a person.
Red pill philosophy does cope hooker. Oh well, he says I know now.
Yeah, and it's just stupid.
No, I did yesterday, like at the I was bitching yesterday for angry that I try to make money with you. And at the end, I started fucking around, and I was waving dollar bills in the fucking. Anybody can now use that little clip, waving dollar bills, and But
exactly.
Hey, that's part of the fucking deal, So I accept that as just part of fucking this profession, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
like anyone could take Elliot Holt's like doing bioenergetics, and make him look like a barbaric caveman. Like it's easy to fucking character assassinate, especially
and then give him a crazy title like
Elliot Holtz.
Elliot Holtz has
Hormones.
raging hormones after
Being bit
taking
by a
steroids.
rabies guy.
After taking steroids, you know, they could say he took steroids, he mixed it with crack, and this is his shit right here. This is his video.
Daily routine.
And then they put it on fucking CNN, and next thing you know,
And then he fiercely masturbates to pictures of himself.
and then next thing you know, people are turned off to LA. Oh shit.
Yeah.
Because they're
Because of just that character assassination, just that little.
So people definitely need to be aware of the fact that character assassination takes place regularly.
But I feel like that's gonna change soon, because the internet is a beautiful thing, and anything that happens on, you can actually debunk. You can look at other websites, look at other points of views. You can do your research, and if you do your research, then you'll be able to get down to the nitty-gritty of what's going on. Because no matter what happens, it's going to be posted somewhere on some type of news feed, some type of social networking, and then you're going to look at it and go, "Wait a second, this is what happened." It's a click away, a couple words, you type it up, and then you want to know, okay, this magazine has this point of view, this article has this point of view. Your own judgment at that point. You have to kind of peel each layer away like an onion.
So even your reality shows, even when you thought you can get a taste of reality behind your fucking TV screen, sitting on your cell phone, you thought maybe then you could finally live your life. Maybe if at least I watch Kim Kardashian fucking live the life that she really wants to live, maybe then that'll be a substitute for me living life. And even then, the fucking reality show, fake as fucking out there, the most scripted, plastic fake.
Yeah, I can definitely touch up on that. I think a lot of people do that, and it's crazy to see it, and it's saddening because you see these people that have this amazing source of power within them, and you see them go to these shitty jobs they don't even want, that they somehow got into because that's just how things turned out. You just got to go with the flow sometimes, son.
I feel like people.
Hold on. So they come home and the TV becomes their life. That's hence the reality shows, hence all these other shows, and they come home and American Idol goes on and they're like, oh my God, Jason has such a voice, and it's like that's the substitute. That's their power, kind of it's substitute basically. It's like the fast food version of living life. Instead of actually going out there and getting pussy, most men are just going to watch porn. Instead of going out there and living life, most people are just going to live life on TV. And it's crazy. So I stopped watching TV a while ago. I haven't freaking watched TV in forever, really. And I don't think I'm better than it. Some people they watch TV, and they never watch TV, and they go around telling everyone, oh, I don't watch TV anymore. And they think they think that they're better than everyone because of that. But they also need to realize a whole other set of things. What you're saying?
I feel like it's a whole. I feel like it's just a whole routine of just escaping reality.
Yep.
You wake up, you do your routine, you go to work, you're escaping reality, your mind's somewhere else. You come home, you're too tired to want to meditate or work out, so you just lay down on your fat ass and order some Chinese and escape reality, turn on the TV. But I feel like it takes the love away from everything. It takes the humanity away from everything. When you don't have fresh ingredients that you can put your energy into and cook your own meal, know where those ingredients are coming from, turn off the TV and read a book, and escape your reality in that way. So that way you're doing more. Instead of something coming to your eyes, you're going to it. You're putting your brain
We're
at this.
addicted.
We're
addicted to escapism.
Exactly.
We're addicted to escapism.
Most of the time it's because we're too afraid to look inside, so we want to look out there and get from what's out there and feel the whole.
Mm.
And
Running scared.
Running Scared, I love that movie.
Mm.
Anyway, but I feel like television was an amazing invention. It's just that programming became just more advertised-based. And a lot of the advertising companies, if you look into it, invested in these types of technologies, internet, TV, because that's how they're going to get their businesses. Advertising TV, slap advertising on everything. They even did a research that most news broadcasting stations, what they would do is they would tell you breaking news at 11, 5 minutes before 11, and then 5 minutes of commercials. You know why? Because they know you're going to be tuning in. It's breaking news. Something happened. Like the flight of Malaysia that went missing. They were speaking about it for weeks on weeks on weeks, and not even giving information, just reminding you about what happened. Yeah. And as you're tuning in for their breaking news that they're just repeating and regurgitating, they have they slap all these ads on there. Reality TV shows are the same way. It's not even real. They just slap reality on there because they want you to feel like it's real. Escape your reality, go into theirs. Politicians, too. How can you... I'm kind of going back and forth here, but I just want to reassess points. The old style of government has to be thrown out, in my opinion, because it was made in the 1700s. That shit doesn't fly. We're not 13 colonies. We're 50 states strong, and you can't have one person who, I'm sure didn't grow up in poverty. Some of them did, and they can understand that side of life, but most of them have a Harvard education, a Yale, some type of high education where they grew up from a family of money. And they go into a room full of other people who grew up with money, and they start passing bills and thinking for the people who don't have money. How can you have one person represent a slew of people that don't even know what you're representing and don't even know most of what you're talking about? They record each of the lectures from each Congress meeting. Let me know if you're the one who sits there and listens to it all the time, and you'll be able to see. Most of the stuff that they bring is some bullshit. I remember this one guy, he brought in a complaint about the muffins being too expensive. The fuck, bro? Who gives a shit? People dying left and right, people are homeless, and you give a shit about how expensive a muffin is. Is that really good?
It seems like the only solution. It seems like the only solution is government. You know, by default, it seems the idea of a government is doomed to fail. So I am going to outsource personal responsibility to I've never met who are led by the primary force that gets presidents elected is the amount of influence that can buy him off, favors, backdoor, or straight money. So like, if you're a person who feels the need to be taken care of, or that you need some kind of protection, the last thing you should ever want is a government, because what you're basically doing is you're telling people you've never met, you're creating a need for this thing, which is actually mechanism power impose force on things. So you've created, and power is the nectar fucking tyrants. So you're creating this called government, which is basically the institution of power, and then which of course attract tyrants and psychopaths. And it's like asking, if you're a person wanting government to take care of you, it's like asking to be raped. It's like asking for the worst possible thing in the world to happen to you. It's a losing game, and that's exactly what we see today. Media that thinks Justin Bieber's more important than the NSA spying on us. We have a government that is predictably run and paid for by the people, the biggest influence, whether it's, corporations or special interests, lobbying powers, companies, corporations, etc. It's a losing game. It's just not going to fucking work, and we're all suffering the consequences today. There is no solution outside of you. The solution is not going to come from the White House. The solution is not going to come by voting once every 4 years. The solution to improve society is reclaim power back from when you usurped it right now. And as people up there decided they want to learn to fuck and false vacations, the effect of that was that more and more power was taken until it's highly, the internet is breaking apart but here we are today, and governments, it's to be destroyed. It just doesn't fucking work.
And you could see that also manifesting through the whole taking away guns policy, because in reality, once I think Stephen, how do you say his name? Molinux?
Molyneux.
Yeah, that guy. He said a quote where basically, I'm paraphrasing, but this whole like giving away power thing comes down to the guns thing too, because when essentially when you're outlawing guns, is that you're saying that the people, you're not outlawing guns. You're not, those people that are like, oh, guns should be illegal. In fact, it's not that they don't hate guns. They don't hate guns. They actually love guns, and they just don't trust who has them. So, and when all those people say guns should be illegal, look at the shootings that happen all the time. I hate guns. Guns kill people. In reality, people kill people. You just don't trust who has the guns. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to have a monopoly on physical power, which insecure people are constantly pushing, and which also reinforces the power structure that they have over us. And I'm not calling for revolution at all means. Yeah, it's crazy, and it's just a manifestation of the other more subtle things, like the other more subtle ways we give our power away.
I don't know. I gotta agree to disagree, because I feel like government is necessary, but in an extent. Government is necessary to an extent, because sometimes when you privatize businesses, they have fixed prices, and sometimes when the local authorities or power centers of security, they can't deal with a certain situation, then that's when government can step in. If someone is abusing their power, then government can step in to help, but not to regulate. Sometimes government regulation is helpful, but to an extent. The laissez-faire policy, hands-off policy. It works in some aspects, but when when corporations get a little too greedy, that's when government can step in and kind of boundary. It should be a check and balance. It should be hand in hand. It shouldn't be one is over the other, and there are a bunch of back doors, and each finger is a different corrupt type of way of getting through each one aspect. Government is necessary to an extent, because those are being, exporting goods.
That would be amazing, man. But what you were saying is like having a strong frame, which is like having a strong vibe, which is something that really happens when you're on purpose, like when you're connected to your mission.
When you're on purpose.
And when you're just on your purpose, you really have this strong vibe. So, and that helps a lot. Like I feel like back when I was going to college and I tried doing pickup, like my vibe wasn't really nowhere near it was now, because now that my lifestyle is actually something that I want to do, every word I'm saying comes from a place of like, fuck yeah, there's nothing, the only obstacles there are is the ones to my goals. And it's like, it's just something women can feel, like when you're on purpose, women can feel that shit. Women can feel it,
Oh, yeah.
And RSD Tyler actually did a video. He's talking about the provider man and lover man dynamic, where like women shame a man who's a provider man because he can't, because like women have this double standard where they fuck the provider guy, like they'll marry him and they'll have kids with him, and but meanwhile in reality what really attracts them is the crazy fucking lover guy that's pursuing his dreams and going nuts, and that really turns them on. It's crazy. And I think that knowing that can really turn a lot of guys on to learning social dynamics, because most guys are in this paradigm where they're like, if I have the right amount of stuff and wealth, that's what's going to get me the ladies. And it'll get you the ladies, but it won't really get you the ladies. It's a fucking paradox. It's going to get you gold diggers, it's going to get you leeches, and it's going to give you maybe one day a week sex from a woman that can't even orgasm because you're not even living your dreams. You're like this little leech that
buy her dinner. You buy her dinner like right after. Compensate her with purchases. You're afraid she'll give you at any moment. It's pretty pathetic.
And if you say something that's out of the norm from your fucking provider male societal conventional kind of label, if you say anything other than from that role, they immediately shame you. They're like, you shouldn't be saying that. You're a fucking doctor. You have more respect than that. Ming, 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 ming. And then when me comes in and I'm fucking crazy, I just finished talking like 35 chicks and fucking getting 5 blowjobs and fucking smoking weed with Santa Claus, living my crazy life. And I go up to them and I say, dirty little slut, come here. They're fucking all over me because they know I'm that kind of guy. I'm just that kind of guy. But if their crazy little provider husband says something like, hey, you're looking good today, whore, like a joking way, immediately she'll jump on his balls and begin to rip little pieces out until she like inflames it with her dragon breath. Like, I don't know, man. I'm just kind of going off.
I think we're all going kind of droopy. How long have we been doing this fucking podcast?
Actually, about an hour right now.
Yeah, I think our brains
I mean,
are
an hour of actual content. It doesn't include like the 4 minutes of 10 minutes of difficulties, but
Yeah, well.
Okay, man. So one of the things to talk about was do you Max? Do you feel any worries? Do you feel any uncertainties now that you've made this decision to drop out of college and to start, pursuing the path internally is right? Do you have any kind of uncertainties? Anything that's kind of scaring you or intimidating you? I think that'd be really good for the audience to kind of hear your internal thought processes.
Most of the time, I'm too excited by my goals and by the fact that I'm on my mission to worry about things, but occasionally I do slip into moments of anxiety, like shit, I might have to go through some hard times. But ultimately, I feel like, I don't know, I just got out of college and I haven't been roaming free for that long yet. But I do have sometimes moments where I'm like, holy fuck, I'm going against what everybody else told me. And, and plus my parents fucking think I'm crazy for wanting to be a dating coach. So I got swords pointing at me from almost every side, except the one little entrance where, I got my friends and people like you and other supporting kind of people.
His colon.
Yeah, so it's like, it's definitely, there's definitely some times of anxiety, but I'm really good at drawing my own state from within. I'm really good at reminding myself of the big picture. And so as long as my focus is in the right places, which I'm very good at directing at this point, yeah, it's not really that big of an issue because I see it's more of an exciting kind of anxiety, and I think meditation and things like that really help you learn how to draw your state from within. And to me, another thing that really helps me draw my state from within is having like a ritual where I like, do some bioenergetics, stretch my body, watch an inspiring video, something to remind me of where I'm going in life and my motivations and all these cool. So yeah, I think it's really, once you start going on this path of just pursuing your dreams and really doing what you want to do in life, it's really important to really learn how to draw your state from within and really learn how to breathe in like chaotic environments, and that's what'll get you through. And Elliot Holmes always says, just breathe into your balls and move on. Just keep breathing into your balls and move on. When you breathe into your balls, you open up everything and the tension vanishes and you automatically just know what to do. So yeah, that's my piece. Yeah, well, besides my YouTube video, Maximilian Passat, P-A-S-S-O-T, Passat, and my Twitter with the same name, that's pretty much it right there. Because I have videos about like where I break down certain concepts and talk about things. So yeah, and I don't know if you have any plugs, man.
I just got the Gram, Instagram, and SoundCloud. Some of my music that I post up there, and tracks of my original mixes that I make and mashups. Dates of when I have gigs over here in NYC, Queens, New York, in Manhattan. I mean, it depends on where it is, but I guess I'll plug that in. Instagram, DJ_3LGEE, and my SoundCloud, SoundCloud.com/AVID-VORAKLIG. That's the SoundCloud, that's the Gram. Check it out. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. Big dicks is bad for your health.
It's right out of Joey Diaz's mouth.
Yeah.
Love fucking Joey Diaz, man. I'm so happy.
What did he say time on the Alex Jones? Like,
Oh yeah, he said, yeah. We don't give a fuck. He was talking about fucking politics and shit. And then right before he left,
before you wreck yourself, that's or some shit like that.
Yeah,
check yourself before you wreck yourself. Big dicks in your ass and bad for your health.
Some shit like that.
Stay black, cocks.
All right, guys. So thanks a lot for tuning in. Guys, leave your comments below. Let me know what you think. As always, going through the situation. If you're like Max, who you're thinking of leaving college, you're thinking about what you really want to do with your life, request comments below. And check out his channel. You'll see the link in the info section below. Guys, for a couple minutes after we hang up here, and that'll be it. So thanks.